Hello and welcome back to the Holistic Hatha Yoga podcast. Yeah, we have had a rebrand and a rename, and I am just so excited for that. So, welcome. This was the Hatha Yoga Mama podcast, and as much as I am very much a Hatha Yoga Mama, I have three kids of my own. They're all kind of, I like to say they're all toddlers, but my oldest is 7, so I guess he's not a toddler anymore, but it feels like it sometimes. Anyway, um, so yeah, as much as I am a hatha yoga mama, I am still that at heart. However, I felt to best serve you guys and to best really guide as to what you will find here. I think that holistic hatha yoga will treat us much better as a name and a brand going forward. So, again, anything that I talk about on the show can be found. There's probably links to my blog or things like that, or any products or whatever to my website, and that is, you guessed it, holistichathayoga.com. And that is live. So go check it out, friends. And also, yeah, give me any pointers if you're like a web design person, because I am not. It has been a struggle getting this new website like up and going. So here we are, though. We're rocking. We're going forward. One of my favorite yoga teachers would always say yoga is perfection in action. Never meaning that like something was perfect, because nothing's ever perfect, but meaning that you are fully engaged and fully conscious and fully aware in everything that you do. And so, um, that doesn't mean that you're the best, but it means that you're giving it your all. So perfection in action, and we'll adjust as we need to. So anyway, that was a very long-winded intro, but welcome back. And yeah, I'm really excited about this episode because it's about one of my favorite topics, which is pranayama. Um, I am really kind of upset because there's so many like breathing practices that I'm seeing out in the social media world. And like, yes, they are all really good things. Breathing practices are amazing, and they can do all the things that they claim, like, um, switch your nervous system from fight or flight to rest and digest, and bring you back down to a calm and centered state. It can help bring energy, it can help digestion. There's all of these things that breathing can do for you. Um, but they're missing a huge, massive elephant in the room, which is hatha yoga and the practice of pranayama. Um, this has been a practice for people for hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years. And we need to acknowledge that. And not only that, but hatha yoga takes it quite a bit deeper than just a breathing practice. Um, so I went back to my favorite um, rendition of the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, or Pradi, Pradipika, sorry. Um, it is basically the yoga Bible when it comes to, yeah, all that there is Hatha Yoga, between asanas, the pranayamas, the shatkarmas, the meditations, all of the things. It is all spoken about in this book. Now, no, this is not a comprehensive book of yoga, because although it does talk about all of those things I just discussed, there's also a lot of things that it will mention other texts where it says, like, oh, just like it says in this text or in that text, because there are a lot of other texts. There's thousands of years of texts in India that all refer to this stuff. So it's all been talked about for a very, very long time. And like Indians know this already. Like it's ingrained in them and it's amazing and beautiful and another reason I love India. So anyway, without further ado, in Hatha Yoga, pranayama is obviously breathing practices, but they are taught to the yogi after they've already learned the asanas and the diet, the yogic diet. So traditionally, when a guru would be teaching a student, first he'd make sure that they follow the yogic code. Those are the community and self rules that must be practiced as a yogi. Um, if you want to know more about that, check out my website, holistichathayoga.com, and go to my blog. And there is a blog called The Yogic Code that goes all over the yogic rules. I love the yogic code. It's amazing. And it also does not get enough credit. So go check that out. I highly, highly encourage you to. Um, so you would learn the yogic code, and then once you were like learning that, or your guru saw you were actually doing those things, then you would start learning the asanas, the physical postures, um, and with the asanas, start eating a yogic diet. I'm not going to go into a yogic diet right now, but I will in the future. It's going to be a whole nother episode. And there's going to be a cool PDF that goes along with it that has a whole list of yogic foods and spices and how to use them. And so, but a lot of the basics is, vegetarian diet is the norm. Um, I have been a vegetarian for, I'm sorry, I had to think about like what year is it? 12 years. And it was actually very easy for me to do. I was never a huge meat fan. So once I like let it go, it was like, oh, this is lovely. I didn't really miss it at all. Anyway, so then you'd learn the asanas and the yogic diet after you had those things on lock. It's like, all right, time to learn some pranayama, my dude. So, um, in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, that starts off, chapter 2 is all about pranayama. Um, and actually, so I'm going to read chapter 2, verse 1. Yes, this is like the Bible. If you haven't read it, Um, I highly encourage it. It's quite amazing. Um, so yeah, chapter 2, verse 1. Thus, being established in asana and having control of the body, taking a balanced diet, pranayama should be practiced according to instructions of the guru. So that is what I basically just talked about. So let's break it down a little bit. What is pranayama? Prana is life force. It's life force energy. And as life force energy, it is always in constant motion. Always. It's always at a vibration of some sort. Um, Pranayama is more than just breathing practices. It means your pranic capacity or your pranic length. And by prana, in pranic capacity, we mean not just your breath control, not just like the air that you're breathing, but a technique where you're activating the prana, the life force energy within you to move to a higher frequency. So, what does that mean? Um, within our chakra system, we have 7 chakras from the very root to the very base of us, the base of your spine, all the way up through the crown of the head, at the crown chakra. Um, as a human, or I guess as a conscious entity, a soul, maybe, I guess I could say, um, moves through the evolutionary process of reincarnation and things and learns some lessons along the way in this beautiful school that we have called Earth. Um, you move towards these higher and higher states of consciousness, moving from the root chakra, from just getting your basic needs met. Think of yeah, just, yeah, those people. And it's sad. But you know what? We've all been there. We've all been through it at some point or another, because we're all here at this point, vibrating higher at these kind of higher frequencies of discovery. This also really, this, I was actually amazed by, is it like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, or Maslow? Sorry if I'm butchering this right now. But he talks about the same thing. He has like the psychiatrist that talks about, like, yeah, when, like, your basic needs need to be met before you can start to reach these higher stages of self-discovery and self-consciousness. Because it's true, you cannot find out the essence of who you are at the core of your being if you're concerned about putting food on the table. That just doesn't work. So you need to have all of the basic needs met, and hopefully met abundantly and comfortably, in order for you to dream and build and dig deeper. Um, so anyway, back to pranayama. So yeah, pranayama is where we're expanding that pranic capacity. We're lengthening the breath. We're deepening that connection to the energy field within us and around us. Um, so in yoga, whatever is manifest, and by manifest, I don't mean like, we're going to manifest something. Although we do all the time, and I fucking love manifesting. Anyway, that's not what I'm talking about. Whatever is manifest, and by manifest, I mean look around you in the things that you see, the objects, the pen, the book, the paper, the candle, whatever you have around you. Those are manifest objects. In yoga, those are called, I'm going to butcher this, but Stuta Rupa, or gross form. And so the gross form means of like the subtle cosmic energy, or the cosmic prana. So what we see around us is the gross form of consciousness. Kind of wild, but also true. Like, it's fucking kind of mind bending. And this is why I'm obsessed with Hatha Yoga, because it's like taking really deep Buddhist perspectives and Hindu yeah, taking a lot of things from Hinduism, as I'm about to dive into a little bit, and weaving this beautiful, very, very manageable, understandable story of how we are where we are and what we're doing here, without using fear as a driver. Imagine that. I'm looking at you, Christianity, looking at you, and a lot of other organized religions. Just use, from what I can have seen, and I know there's a lot of other good things, so come at me, bro. But but I don't like the fear mongering. And so I love that in yoga, it talks about all of these beautiful things in this connection that we have, without bringing up, you know, eternal hell and the devil. Like, Jesus Christ, get real. No pun intended, using that Lord's name in vain. My bad. Okay, anyway, so whatever's around us is, yeah, this gross form of consciousness, including ourselves. And so basically all of this is built on the eternal truth that existence is here based off of two things. Like, we're all made out of an energy which is of two parts, um, Shiva and Shakti. And so that is the creator and the destroyer, or consciousness and energy. It's two parts of the same coin, two sides of the same coin. Not two different things, but one. However, they are two different aspects. So they're a polarity that exists. And so the purpose of Hatha Yoga is to realize Shiva or consciousness by or through Shakti or prana, through our life force energy. So we are trying to realize consciousness, realize our deep eternal consciousness through this pranic life force, connecting with it, understanding it, listening to it, and being in touch with it. Noticing the subtle bodies, not just the gross form bodies. This is what we're cultivating in Hatha Yoga. It's it's very apparent that the way that we breathe sets off a vibration which influences our entire body. This is true, but this is also what the yogis said thousands of years ago, literally saying like the way that we breathe sets off pranic vibrations and it influences our entire being. Well, guess what? They're talking about breathing and how if you breathe a very short and shallow breath, so you're just breathing down to, let's say, your sternum, and you're just taking these kind of short, small breaths, your pranic vibration will be moved into fight or flight mode, which is a lower vibration. It is a survival mechanism vibration. It is a in your gut feeling, I need to run sensation, you know? And so when you breathe shallow like that, that stimulates that response in your nervous system. This is proven like medically, like in today's modern science world. So they already knew this because they could feel it. Because you can feel it if you just pay attention. And so the deeper the breath, the slower the breath, the more you're breathing all the way down, letting your diaphragm stretch, pulling down. It's not stretching actually, it's actually tightening as your diaphragm pushes down and it pulls your lungs down, expands your lungs all the way, and you slowly fill your lungs all the way with air from the front to the back and the bottom, all the way to the top through the collarbones. Take that deep breath in, and then those slow breaths out as you just slowly let that air move down through the collarbones to the belly, gently pulling in that belly button as you let that exhale like fully leave the body. And then you begin to slowly breathe in again. This long type of breathing, using the full lung capacity, will activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest nervous system, or your when you are in a safe space, when you are somewhere where you feel completely safe and you feel like your body is safe and your mind is safe and your emotions are safe and your needs are met and you're cozy and protected from the elements. That type of breathing will stimulate that in your nervous system. And so the way that we breathe is so important because it does set up these pranic vibrations, which not only affect your body, but it affects your mind. Um, in yoga, it's also in Hatha Yoga, traditionally, they link prana and life force and air as like vayu is what they call it, and it's kind of a mixture of air and prana. Both together creates vayu. And in order to have life in the body, you have to have vayu. So in order to extend life, they say slow the vayu, keep vayu obviously in your body, but slow your breath. Animals that have fast breathing rates have fast heart rates. And then they also have shorter lifespans. Animals that have longer breathing patterns have slower heart rates and they have longer lifespans. Is this a coincidence? I don't believe in coincidences. And so this is what they're talking about is slowing down that breath, extending that life force, cultivating that life force, moving that life force up and up and up, and creating this very, very high energy field with this beautiful thing that you have, which is called a body. That is what we are doing here. Um, just a little bit more, I guess, about diet control. And I guess why diet is so important is because eating is a direct way of pranic absorption. So, um, which, of course, as I was just saying, your pranic absorption, it affects your body, your mind, your vibrations, everything. So, your diet is key because what you're eating is a direct energetic absorption. So, just as we can breathe air and use that air exchange as absorption, so is our food. Our food is just like our air in that way. Um, so prana is the tangible manifestation of the higher self. So it is, people talk about the higher self. Oh, what would your higher self do? Or, connect with your higher self. Da 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 da. It's been kind of like a buzzword, I guess, which is kind of funny because I have a tattoo around my wrist that I got over a decade ago, and it says Om Namah Shivaya, and that means I bow to my highest self, essentially. Um, Meaning, yeah, I will surrender to my highest self no matter what. Um, so tending to this prana, to this life force, is vital. Um, and so prana is that tangible. It's that connection that you can feel to the higher self, and you can hear that wisdom and that depth and that echo of deep, deep knowing that it's coming from a place of pure consciousness and not a place of fear, not a place that you made up in your human mind, not something that your brain is throwing at you to scare you into comfort. We're talking about the deep knowings that come through. That is also, prana. That is your connection. Um, and so we use prana to expand our awareness of what we are, of this conscious body, and realize the deepest self, the highest self. That's the other thing that I think is funny is like the deepest self and the highest self are the same because it comes full circle, which is wild. But yeah, we are through these pranayama practices. We're not just trying to move from fight or flight to rest and digest, da 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 da. We are literally trying to connect with our highest self so that we can be guided in the most loving and divine way that we possibly can every single day that we walk on this earth. And that's a lot different than just trying to switch your nervous system from one to the other. You can do that lots of different ways. You can do that with a shower as well. You can do that in temperature. You can do that with aromatherapy. You can do that a million other ways outside of breathing. Where the juiciness in breathing practices is within Hatha Yoga and within these pranayamic practices of this deep inner work. That's where the magic is. So, yeah, you retain prana, you retain your life. And you can live a nice long life using these practices. Okay, so that is basically verse 1, chapter 2 or I said that backwards. Chapter 2, verse 1, in a little synopsis. I am gonna get off my almost gonna get off my pranayama soapbox here, but I'm going to dive into one more verse from chapter 2. Verse 56 is what I am pulling out of my hat today. And because again, I think this one is important because it just again speaks to the nature of Hatha Yoga, speaks to the nature of what it is we're doing here, and puts puts us on a path of like, holy cow, this is not a toning exercise. You can go to like a body circuit class or like a TRX class, or it's like a workout class, or just go to the gym and lift weights. If you are trying to bulk up and gain strength, extra strength, because yoga poses do give you strength and help you maintain your strength. They don't necessarily help you build strength if you already have good strength and then are just doing yoga. It'll more so keep you nice and lean and perfectly fit for your frame, is what I always think with yoga. Um, but if you're looking obviously for that extra muscle, you need to do extra like working out of those muscles using more weight than just your own body weight. Um, and so that's where asana, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here. Asana, or the yoga postures, or a traditional yoga class, is not necessarily your workout. It is in a way, but it's not the only way. Um, there's a lot of other ways to work out and do things. However, just like with breathing practices and pranayama, workouts are workouts. They're there to put stress on your body, good stress, and make you stronger. um, Yogic asanas are there to put good stress on your body, good stress on your mental load, and move your pranic body in a way that's good and vital, helpful, I guess. What am I trying to say? In a way that's, yeah, that's moving you upwards in this realm, in this lifetime, I suppose. Um, so again, uh, very different goals in mind between the two. I mean, I went to a workout class this morning because I need to move my body and I need to strengthen my body. Um, I also did yoga later today because I needed to connect to my soul and get in touch with my highest self, not necessarily to work out. Did it work out my body a little bit? Yeah, sure. It stretched me out a little, or maybe strengthened, or whatever. However, what it really did for me was bring me back to a grounded state. So they are not the same. They serve totally different purposes, although they look very similar. So, okay, I'll move on. Chapter 2, verse 56. And the sattva in the body becomes free from all disturbances. Truly, by the forementioned method, one becomes Lord of yogis on this earth. So I know that sounds kind of weird. And what's the forementioned methods? Pranayama practices. You guessed it. I won't tell you the specific one. You'll have to check yourself. But basically, is what they're saying is that through using these pranic practices, you become Lord of the Yogis, but they don't mean it in like an egotistical way. They just mean it like you're doing it. You're doing the path. You're on the path. You are a yogi. Um, so in Hatha Yoga, there's three qualities of the body slash mind. They're the three gunas that bind your consciousness. And so those three gunas are tamas, rajas, and sattva. We all have these qualities within us, but one is always predominant. In order to reach the higher states of consciousness, sattva has to be predominant, and we actually have to move beyond sattva truly to get to this place of full understanding. So, what are these gunas? What are we talking about here? Um, what are these ways of being? So tamas is uh, dull and lethargic. So we all feel this at some points, of course. But we don't want that to be our what we are predominantly in life. We do not want to be an Eeyore of life. Sorry, Eeyore, I love you, you're so sweet, but we don't want to be dull and lethargic in most days of our lives. That's not what we want our predominant guna to be. However, you see it all the time. You see it all the time. Those poor fucking bastards. They're just, yeah, very sad and dull and lethargic. But whatever. And sad sometimes doesn't even go with it. Sometimes they're happy and dull and lethargic. But anyway, I'll move on. Rajas is the other one, and that is dynamic and ambitious. So again, not a bad thing. But if you're being in this way, they're kind of talking about like ambitious in the gross form world where you're like trying to get all these things to like beef up your ego and like make you feel good when like really it's not like that, So but it's like not like you're doing a bad thing, you're going out, you're creating abundance, you're doing your own thing, you're creating abundance for other people, like you're giving your goals, like you're reaching your goals and giving what you want to give to the world. Nothing's wrong with any of that. However, it's really hard to start diving into any spiritual work when you're constantly on the go, when you're always on the move and you're always doing the next thing. So Rajas is great, and we all, again, need to have that dynamic and that ambitious energy about us. However, this leads us to Sattva, the third guna, which we should, I say should, I hate to say that word. I always like to think that, like, whenever I say it, it's always like, don't should yourself, is in the back of my mind. Because should, I feel like, has such a negative connotation. So, anyway, so Sattva is the goal. That is what we're aiming for in Hatha Yoga. Um, and Sattva is balance, harmony, and one pointedness, or like single consciousness. Or that's basically what meditation is being able to be connected and here in the now with the thing that you're doing all the time. Um, so Sattva is you call that's not a natural state of being. We cultivate that through, you guessed it, Hatha Yoga, through asana, through pranayama, through meditation, through diet, through the yogic code, through all of it, you know. And Sattva is like the highest evolution of the mind, because if we can reach that point of balance and harmony within the body, mind, and spirit, holy crap, aren't we winning the lottery? Isn't that better than winning the lottery? So, um, so yeah, so all in all, that is what we're doing here in a nutshell when I say that we are practicing pranayama. It is we are practicing connecting to our life force energy through the air, through ether, through the breath, and gently and subtly raising that vibration of that consciousness within us to higher realms of loving and expanding states. Um, yeah, it's pretty cool. That's why I love it. It's why I absolutely love it. So, yeah. So, if you want to know more about pranayama, I do have some blog posts on my website. Just go to holistichathayoga.com and then click on the yogi blog, and then you'll see all of my posts. You can scroll through and find pranayama and pranayamic practices. in there. You can also go to my online courses tab, and I have an awesome little audio file for you if you'd like. And it is the top, it's my personal favorites. So, top three breathing practices for everyday life that you can learn in under 20 minutes. So it is a single audio that is under 20 minutes long, and it teaches you three different breathing practices that you can use in three different ways. I guess like different moods, or they're for different, yeah, different moods. One's more for anxiety, one's more for like needing to get energy, and one is more of just a general breathing practice in general. But so yeah, if you're interested at all in starting to dive into the world of pranayama, go check out my website, check out the blog, check out the online course or the download, um, the Audible download, and yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what comes through for you when you do these practices or when you sit and do anything related hatha yoga, because I'd love to know. Um, and that is about all I've got for you guys today. So I'm going to wrap it up here, and I will see you guys next week. Thanks, and my light sees your light, and I bow to that, my dear. One love. Bye.